Hello, everybody, and welcome to Feel Good Friday at Church at Home with Rachel. Today is the 7th of February, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what it means to be Canadian. Tim Hortons. I know that there are Tim Hortons now in the States, but it is a Canadian, I don't know who owns it anymore, probably Americans, but it started off as a Canadian coffee shop, donut shop, and in my heart it will always be Canadian. Tim Horton was a great Canadian, didn't come to the best end, but played good hockey and made good coffee and donuts. So that's one of the things. Another thing is hockey. I know that many will argue with me, but hockey is a Canadian sport. It just is. Invented in Canada. Now we debate among the territories and provinces where exactly hockey originated, but it is a Canadian form. It just is. Let's not argue that fact. And Canadians are huge hockey fans. Go to any game, even the games in the States, and quite often it's filled with Canadian fans. A lot of the teams have Canadian players, and it's just a thing. And we're proud of it, and we own it, and we're glad of it, and we'll fight for it. One thing about Canadians, though, that we need to understand, we need to remember, because we're getting all swept up in the hoopla that is happening to the south of us, and with justifiably so, I believe, last weekend's announcements of tariffs and our coming back and our Prime Minister stepping up and doing the right thing. He represented us well last Saturday night in a press conference, explaining very clearly to both Americans and Canadians what they can expect. And I have to say, I was proud of our Prime Minister and proud to be Canadian. I wasn't so proud later on, though, when I heard what happened at the Senators game with the Wild. I believe it was the Wild. And the Canadians in the crowd booed the American anthem. I believe it also happened at another hockey game, and apparently at a Raptors, a Toronto basketball, the NBA game. There is no excuse for Canadians to behave badly. Just because a leader down south decides to act like a tin pot dictator doesn't mean that we need to lower our standards and become such ourselves. I am not saying this tongue in cheek either. As Canadians, we are polite. We are appropriate. We treat one another and others with respect, quite often even when they don't deserve it, because we are Canadians. And that includes how we behave ourselves at public functions. There are times, I will admit I'm one of them, when I go to a good hockey game and a fight breaks out and I get a little wrapped up in it. I've been reading a book lately that Rob gave me for Christmas from this guy who does podcasts about hockey. Big Toronto Maple Leafs fan. I won't hold that against him. But I'm reading this chapter right now all about fighting and the hypocritical way that Canadians in particular think, and hockey fans specifically, think about fighting. Do we think that it's appropriate? No. Do we think it should have a place in hockey? No. But if a fight breaks out, do we cheer? Yeah. It's a weird dynamic, kind of like the ring, like the Colosseum mentality that comes over us. Well, the thing is, I don't think it's all that bad that Colosseum mentality comes over us for a good Donnybrook. When there's a good bench brawl, like when everybody comes off the bench and there's a good brawl that needs to happen. It doesn't happen very often anymore, but it's been known to happen in Canada. However, our bad behavior should not start, if it ever does, at least until the gloves are dropped. It should not start at the beginning of the event, when the flag is flown and the anthems are happening. We should not be booing. As a matter of fact, many people have traditionally sung along with the anthems, and I have no issue with that. My husband Rob's in the military, and he's a chaplain. And every year they would have their call to serve. It's an exercise the chaplains would go on together, kind of like a work conference. And one year they had, I believe it was the senior chaplain for the American forces. So their highest ranking chaplain, I believe, or up there. It may not have been a chaplain. It may be just somebody else, a general or somebody who was visiting. It was a woman. And as part of the march past, so they have the military, they have songs. Each element, the Army, Air Force, Navy, each of the branches, like the Logistics Corps, the Armored Corps, the Navy, the Air Force, the chaplain branch, they all have march past, where whoever has served with that unit or that group stands for it's like the anthem for their group. So they stand and they sing along and they do their thing, and then other people don't stand, and then the joke is that with chaplains, they often stand for many because as chaplains, they have served in these places. And Rob usually just pretty much stays standing because he's served with Army, Air Force, and Navy. He has served in so many different, the electrical mechanical engineers branch, the logistics branch, the medical corps, the military police. He's been their chaplain. So he just sort of stays up for the whole time. Well, because this visiting person from the American military was there, they played the American anthem. And everyone stood at attention, and the whole group of 60 or 70 chaplains all sang the whole anthem, word for word, completely. And this military person, was astounded that all of these chaplains, Canadian chaplains, would know the American anthem. Well, when it was explained to her why, it was Saturday night hockey night in Canada. How many years have we listened to the American anthem being played? And of course, a lot of us know it whether we realize it or not. We might not be able to sing it off the top of our heads, but if someone starts, we can certainly jump in. And there's nothing wrong with that. When we gather for a sports event, even the Olympics, especially the Olympics, it's not about a fight for whose country is better. It really is, I think, about celebrating the hard work that these people have done to get this to this level of their play. Happens in tournaments too, for like 8-year-olds, for Adams and Peewees and midgets, bantams. They play the national anthems. And it is a time where those young hockey players or sports children can stand there with pride and listen to their national anthem in their heart for that moment, even if it is just some rinky-dink little tournament in podunk nowhere. For them, it's the world. They are standing at attention for their national anthem, and that does the heart a lot of good. And that's bipartisan. That goes across the border. It doesn't matter who you are. When you hear your national anthem, you should be able to stand tall and proud. And in Canada, we have done that well, especially in hockey. And so it was devastating to me to hear that when the American anthem was played, Canadian fans would boo. I would like to just go out and spank all of them. That is so inappropriate. That's not who we are. We may not agree with the politics happening in the States. We may not agree with the politics of the people that those players voted for, or the American fans that are watching voted for. Some of them voted for him. Some of them voted for the other side. It doesn't matter. When we come together for a sports event like hockey or basketball or football or the Olympics, it isn't about a fight between countries. It's about a game. And at the heart of it, games should be fun. They should be building up of community, not tearing it down. And so this Feel Good Friday, I am challenging all the Canadians who watch. My hunch is that not many of the Canadians who watch are big sports fans because of the demographic that I reach, but heck, pass the word. Share this video. If you're going to some kind of an event that has another country, in particular the United States in this day and age, stand at attention. Show due respect. Even if you cannot respect the leader, respect the military members who have stood up and offered themselves for their country. The same as we do with ours. When we stand at attention for O Canada, when we sing our hearts out for our national anthem, we are singing for our country. We are singing in appreciation for all of the military members of today and who have gone before us, who stood tall and proud for our country, who offered themselves for the true north, strong and free. That is what we should be doing. We should be honoring the people who have served, not trashing the one who isn't really serving the country at all. And so, wherever you are, wherever you go this weekend, when you hear the national anthem for the United States, stand at attention, say a prayer, and offer thanksgiving for all those people who went before to make the United States what it has traditionally been for us, a good friend. And pray for all those who will hear that national anthem for themselves, and they will stand tall and proud to continue to fight for what the United States has always stood for, that we might be good friends again. But at least do not boo. Do not lower yourselves to the kind of people that the the orange-headed tin pot dictator wants us to be. We are better than that. Stand up proud for both the anthems and show the world what it truly means to be Canadian. Have a great day. God bless you. And I'll see you again on Sunday for Gospel on the Go and Monday for Church at Home.